What's going on YouTube? I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. Of course, you guys know by now, man. Listen to the name, BowTie Fragrance Guy. We talk about fragrances obviously on this channel, but I also like to throw in some style, a little bit of grooming tips as well. Just want to make sure that I can lend whatever advice I have or obtained over the years on how you can look and smell your best to you guys. So if you're into looking good and smelling great, make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications as well by hitting that bell icon, so that way, anytime a new video is uploaded on the channel, you'll get notified. So guys, on today's video, I'm gonna be talking about and ranking my Frederic Malle collection. I have about 18 fragrances from this particular brand, and just wanted to come on and share and kind of rank these and kind of give a kind of overview of how I would put these in order, and as it pertains to which one I like the most. And I don't even want to say like the least, because I like all of these, but I'm just putting them in order. So if it's in the collection, know at least I like the fragrance. Now, obviously all things are not created equal. And again, I do have my, I guess you would call them favorites. So that's where we're gonna kind of get into it today. I actually really love this house. I kind of put Frederic Malle up there with like Amouage. I like both those brands kind of for the same reasons. Creative fragrances, and definitely when I put my nose to these fragrances, I can tell that there's some time and some quality that's been put into these creations. So those are the primary reasons that I am a fan of this particular brand. Obviously, most of these fragrances I have purchased myself. I'm trying to think if I ever was sent anything from Frederic Malle. If I was, it wasn't directly from the brand. It was maybe like a Twisted Lily or So Avant-Garde, but I think pretty much, if I come to one, I'll let you know. But I pretty much purchased all these, again, just a fan of the house, a fan of the brand. Basically, if you don't know much about Frederic Malle fragrances, Frederic Malle kind of brought in an all-star team of perfumers, and kind of like you do with an all-star or a Pro Bowl quarterback, give them the ball, 2-minute drill for a quarter, say go be great. And that's kind of sort of what he did with these particular fragrances. Brought in some of the best, most world-renowned perfumers, with some being the likes of Dominique Ropillon, Jean-Claude Elena, Carlos Binaim, Maurice Roussel, just to name a few, and have come up with some amazing creations. So I'm gonna run the intro, and when we come back, I'm gonna be ranking my 18 fragrances from this particular brand. So if you wanna see how I rank these, you know the routine, keep it locked right here. Let's go. Seriously, man. Let's go. Be right back.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to jump into the video really quickly. Guys, what I've been doing here recently with my videos is I've been using the YouTube shopping option to link as many of these fragrances as I can to the video. I love using YouTube shopping because oftentimes when I search for a fragrance, it pulls up multiple options. And I try to always go, of course, for the most inexpensive option that I see out there for each fragrance. So make sure you click on the link that's attached to the video that says products. If you want to check out any of these, I will link as many of them to the video as I can. So in the 18th spot, this particular fragrance, it was done by Dominique Ropillon, which he actually has several fragrances from Frederic Malle that he's actually composed. And it's in the 18th spot again. I want to emphasize this, I at least like it. It's in the collection, not as much as the others. But in the 18th spot, it goes to this one, Geranium Portmanteau. Geranium Portmanteau. All right, what you get with this one, guys, is mint, geranium, frankincense, and sandalwood. Now, what you're gonna see here, which I am going to coin this as classic Frederic Malle, all right? Very masculine fragrance. With kind of analyzing my collection and looking at this particular brand, Frederic Malle often uses geranium in a lot of these fragrances. And to my nose, the variety of geranium used here, I think it's called bourbon geranium, which is more minty. So geranium can have different facets and different nuances contingent upon which, variety of how it's extracted and how it's utilized. But a lot of theirs are that bourbon geranium that's really minty. Of course, some geraniums can have a kind of rosy nuance to it as well, kind of green, but this is definitely very minty. This is like, if you've ever smelled toothpaste, that's almost like I could say a photorealistic comparison of how the mint smells when you first put your nose to this fragrance. But like I said, when it dries down, you get some nice sandalwood in this as well. It is a very gentlemanly fragrance. I would say you have to be a fan of mint to really appreciate this one, but it is nice. I don't want to spend too much time on these because I got a lot to get through, but in the 18th spot, Geranium Pomansor. Now guys, I do want to get my hands on one more. I know at least, there's two I'm thinking about from the desert. I think it's the Desert something collection. They're very expensive fragrances, but I do want to get the Moon. If anybody has it and wants to sell it, hit me up because they are very expensive. About $1,000 for each of these bottles. And then Promise is another rose fragrance that I am potentially interested in, but I know for a fact I want the Moon. So anyway, in the 17th spot, this is the only Eau de Toilette concentration. Everything else is Eau de Parfum from this particular house that I have, and it's done by Sophia Grossman, and this is called Outrageous. Outrageous. And what you get here basically, guys, this is a really nice citrus fragrance. Neroli, apple, orange blossom, white musk. This honestly smells like summer in a bottle. Definitely nothing complex here. Again, the only EDT concentration that I have from this particular brand, but it is really, really nice. So easy to wear. Again, this one suffers a little bit in the performance category, so it's not the end of the world. Of course, when you have a lot of fragrances, you take it and reapply, but this is the worst performer on the list. It's an EDT concentration. I only get about 3.5, sometimes maybe 4 hours of complete longevity. And of course, when you spend this amount, although it's not as expensive as some of the other ones, the EDPs, sometimes people have an issue with that. So I will caution you, it's not a great performer, but for the 3.5 to 4 hours that it does last, it is fantastic in the summertime. So check this one out in the 17th spot. This one is called Outrageous. All right, guys, in the 16th spot. Now this is kind of have something to do with the fact that it's a little bit newer fragrance, one of the newer creations released in the last 2 or 3 years or so, done by Anne Filippo. I do like it, but I need more time with this one. So right now, this is where it falls. This is called Synthetic Jungle. Synthetic Jungle. And what you get with this one, guys, is basil, lily of the valley, jasmine, and patchouli as some of the main notes. Very green fragrance. Very green, that lily of the valley. Kind of reminds me of the same lily that you'll find in Lee's Mediterran. But again, you have to be a fan of green fragrances to really enjoy this one. I really, really like it. Again, I haven't had as much time with this one as some of the others. So right now, this is where it sits in the lineup. But it's really good, especially for you green fragrance lovers out there. So check this one out in the 16th spot. Synthetic Jungle. All right, guys, now coming in the 15th spot. This gentleman has done several fragrances from this brand as well. I love his creations. To me, definitely one of those perfumers that has kind of a style when it comes to what type fragrances he does well. And this is from Maurice Roussel, Uncut Gem. Uncut Gem. This is ginger, angelica root, vetiver, and amberwood. That's some of the main notes. I have heard some people say that this kind of smells like Dior Sauvage or a designer fragrance. I don't get that, and that's one of the things I love about fragrances, man. Some people, they pick something up and you totally get something different. I don't get it at all. I don't get, Dior Sauvage at all with this fragrance. I will tell you what it kind of reminds me of, although I actually like the scent profile a little bit more. Clive Christian X, that had that rhubarb and, I think cypress in the opening. Kind of a vegetal effect. I kind of get that with this fragrance as well. maybe coming from that really earthy, rooty Angelica that you get in this fragrance. But at the end of the day, what this is just a masculine kind of signature scent fragrance, and I really, really like it. So right now it's in the 15th spot, but I like it more than a lot of other people seem to. This is Uncut Gem. All right, guys, in the 14th spot, another more recent release done by Jean-Claude Elena. This one is called Heaven Can Wait. Heaven Can Wait. And what you get here, guys, is cloves, iris, plum, peach, and vanilla. Amazing fragrance. Powdery, beautiful combination of those very, again, sensuous and kind of sexy fruity nuances in the opening with the peach and the plum. Absolutely love this stuff, guys. Again, that's really saying something, because I have, if it's in this particular spot, because there's a lot of other great ones here, but I really, really do like this one. Again, this was released, I think, last year, so haven't had as much time with this one as some of the others, but I really do like it. Maybe time will tell. Maybe I'll do this in another year or so and see, you know, if the order is the same. But for right now, this is where I have it, although I do like this. Again, done by Jean-Claude Elena. This is right up his alley as it pertains to what he does well, in my humble opinion, as it pertains to fragrances. So check this one out, guys. One of the newer releases. If you love iris, plum, and peach, this is probably going to be your thing. This is Heaven Can Wait. All right, guys, up next in the 13th spot, lucky number 13. This one was done by Michael Rodniska, and this one is called Noir A Piece. Noir A Piece. And what you get with this one, man, nutmeg, cloves, cinnamon, geranium, and sandalwood. Again, opens up very, very huge doses of geranium. Again, there's probably about half of the fragrances on this list that has this very minty geranium in the fragrance. So you get a blast of that in the opening, and then it becomes about these beautiful melange of warm spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, of course, and cloves, giving you that, what I've come to really appreciate in fragrances, that beautiful allspice smell in the heart of the fragrances really dominates the heart of it, and hence the name Noir A Piece, really about all of the beautiful spices in this fragrance. That's really what this is about, and the sandalwood does a great job to round this one out. So in the 13th spot, beautiful fragrance, guys, seriously. Signature scent worthy. This is Noir A Piece. All right, guys, in the 12th spot, a fragrance, another one done by Jean-Claude Elena. This is L'Eau de Verre. L'Eau de Verre. And what you're gonna get with this one is hawthorn, heliotrope, hay, and honey is some of the main notes. Oh, gosh. Guys, floral, powdery, and beautiful springtime. Reminds me of springtime, and kind of enveloped by that honey. The florals in here, again, enveloped by a beautiful powdery nuances in honey is really what this fragrance is at the end of the day. Absolutely love this stuff. Kind of sits closer to the skin, but again, it kind of sticks around for quite a period of time. So really just one of those fragrances where not only I think you, but people around you just enjoy the beautiful sea eyes and scent trail that this fragrance really creates. So it's in the 12th spot, beautiful fragrance, guys, by Jean-Claude Elena. This is L'Eau de Verre. All right, guys, in the 11th spot, another fragrance done by, of course, master perfumer, one of my favorites, Dominique Ropion. This is Cologne Indélébile. Cologne Indélébile. Now, what you're gonna get with this one, guys, is neroli, orange blossom, musk, and benzoin. Guys, this is, if you like Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford, but you had issues with the performance, this is the, I guess, the answer for that. Reminds me a lot of a beautiful Neroli Portofino from Tom Ford. And there used to be a Neroli Portofino Forte, which kind of increased the performance of the original Neroli Portofino. But this, guys, again, because that's discontinued, is a great alternative. The benzoin, the musky, vanillic benzoin dry down of this really gives this fragrance some lasting power. So you get the, of course, primarily that neroli in the opening, but as it dries down, it starts to take on those almost ambery, you know, benzoin, vanillic nuances. Just absolutely love this stuff. Great performer, man. So if you're looking for something in the summertime that really pushes and gives you some great performance, check this one out, man. Really enjoy this one. Again, done by none other than Dominique Ropillon, Cologne Indélébile. All right, guys, we're crossing over into the top 10. This fragrance, another one, Jean-Claude Elena. This is the latest creation that he's done for Frederic Malle. This one is called Rose and Queer. Rose and Queer. What you get with this is basically geranium, leather, rose, and vetiver. Again, I hate to sound like a broken record. Bourbon geranium. I think it's called Le Bourbon geranium. And again, very minty, slight rosy nuances from the geranium in this as well. Of course, you get the rose and vetiver. Again, just a beautiful interpretation of kind of the note of rose. The rose here is more of a green, maybe the stem of a rose almost. Kind of reminds me of a kiss from a rose from by Killian. Not that, very seductive, sultry rose like a Bulgarian rose that you would get in some other creations that from this particular brand. Again, very green rose, very, I would say, springtime kind of rose fragrance here. So love this stuff by Jean-Claude Elena. So check this out. If you love rose and leather, you'll love this stuff. This is called Rose and Queer. All right, guys, in the ninth spot, this fragrance right here is very nostalgic. One of the first big purchases made by the missus. I remember years ago, maybe 15 years or so ago now. One of her first big fragrance purchases. She got this fragrance, very unisex though, and done by Carlos Benaim. This is Ode Magnolia. Love this stuff, man. You talk about something that's unisex signature scent worthy. This is magnolia, lemon, oak moss, and cedarwood. So obviously, guys, anything that kind of highlights a floral like magnolia, definitely going to be appropriate for women as well. But I'm telling you, man, it dry down. When it starts to dry down, definitely something that most people are going to say is very unisex and signature scent worthy for a male or a female, honestly. This is a very nostalgic fragrance right here. Smells absolutely fantastic. Just a fragrance that when you smell it, it's going to, evoke those feelings of a well-dressed or well-put-together individual. And that can be male or female, quite honestly, with this fragrance. So check it out. Then done by Carlos Benaim. This is called Ode Magnolia. All right, guys, I actually didn't realize this, but we're going back to back with Carlos Benaim Creations. I think this one was created in 2018. I think people kind of slept on this one, but I love it. That's why it's in the top 10. This is called Music for a While. Music for a While. This is pineapple, lavender, patchouli, and vanilla as some of the main notes. Well, guys, a lot of people talk about Creed Aventus having a beautiful note of pineapple. Put your nose on this. Put your nose on this. What this is again, why I love this house, creativity. This is a creative take on a traditional fougere kind of DNA. And of course, you don't find pineapple in traditional fougeres, but the lavender and some of the other stuff that you get on the dry down is definitely fougere-like. But this is man, if you want to say Creed Aventus is number one, this is a close number two, maybe even number one. We just talk about the pineapple note itself. Very photorealistic, sweet, juicy pineapple in the opening of this fragrance. This is fantastic, seriously. If I do this in another year, this could be higher on the list. I love this fragrance. That's why it's in the A spot. Of course, done by Carlos Benaim, you know the brand. But this one is Music for a While. If you love pineapple, gotta put your nose on that one. All right, guys, coming in the 7th spot, this one is done by Pierre Bourdon, one of my favorites. I haven't heard anybody else on YouTube ever really talk about this, maybe one or two other people other than myself. If you love Iris, you gotta put your nose on this, Iris Poudre. This stuff is so good, so good. Obviously, Iris is one of the main notes, aldehydes, rose, tonka bean, and white musk. This smells phenomenal. This smells phenomenal. Love the soapy clean aldehydes in here. Obviously, you're gonna get a lot of a powdery iris in this fragrance. But when it dries down, man, it's almost like shaving cream, if you will. That's kind of sort of what it reminds me of. Very powdery, Again, soapy and clean. This is a tremendous fragrance. This is what it's all about. Guys, seriously. If you are like me sometimes and you are well vested into the designer fragrance market and you kind of get bored with the same old, take a look at some of the fragrances from brands like this and you'll really understand what fragrance really should be about, in my humble opinion. When you talk about creativity, I've never smelled anything on that level done like this. This is just a fantastic fragrance. But again, don't want to spend too much time. But guys, check this one out. If you love Iris, you gotta check this out. Love this stuff. This is Iris Poudre. All right, guys, and coming in the number 6 spot, this is just obviously outside of the top 5. If you've ever heard somebody utilize the term, I'm sure you have, spring in a bottle. You've oftentimes probably heard that associated with Green Irish Tweed from Creed, which I would not dispute that. To me, that is definitely a fragrance that evokes the season of spring, the ideas and the thoughts about that season. But this, guys, should be right next to Green Irish Tweed, done in a totally different way based around florals, done by Edouard Flechier. This is Lys Mediterran. Lys Mediterran. What you get here, guys, is orange blossom, white musk, and of course, lily of the valley. That's some of the main notes. This is spring in a bottle. When you walk outside during the springtime, I mean, this is right when the season is transitioning from winter to spring. You walk outside and that smell of the air, that smell of flowers starting to bloom, slight, honey nuances that evokes the idea of, bees, of course, coming to help kind of this. Just check it out. Spring in a bottle, Lys Mediterran. All right, guys, we're transitioning right into the top 5. Another fragrance done by Dominique Ropillon. Some of you may be surprised because this is probably a fragrance more associated with women because the primary note is tuberose, but it's a carnal tuberose. It is Carnal Flower, done by Dominique Ropillon, in the 5th spot for me. This is tuberose, musk, and sandalwood as some of the main notes. And again, I know as guys, a lot of times we struggle with florals. Again, if you're not a fan of tuberose, I would still encourage you to at least sample this, because this is not, I repeat, this is not too feminine where guys cannot rock this fragrance. Trust your boy on this. This is the best interpretation of tuberose I've ever put my nose on. A close second to this is Golden Aries by BowTie Victorious. Neck and neck 1 and 2, but a masculine carnal tuberose. And that carnal part of this fragrance, the muskier nuances, is what really, to me, makes it appropriate for guys to really rock this as well. But check it out, guys. It's in the top 5 for a reason. It's fantastic. This is Carnal Flower. All right, guys, in the 4th spot, another Pierre Bourdon creation. I've always talked about this fragrance. I talk about it a lot. I want to talk about those sexy masculine fragrances. This is one of my favorites. This is French Lover. I think it was also known as Bois d'Arage. But what you get here, guys, pretty much this is Galbanum, Vetiver, Angelica, and Patchouli. So again, very quickly, very green, very masculine, kind of green, spicy, earthy vetiver is what you get with this fragrance. Again, if you talk about fragrances that epitomize masculine fragrances, masculine, sexy fragrances, this is one that always comes to my mind. It is absolutely stunning when you talk about a sophisticated, sexy gentleman, something that he would probably wear. This is a fragrance, even based on the name, man, that I think everybody needs to get their nose on. Again, in the 4th spot, check this one out, guys. A Pierre Bourdon creation, French Lover. All right, guys, I'm coming in the 3rd spot. We're going to my top 3 Frederic Malle fragrances. I had to search far and wide for this. It's a discontinued fragrance, unfortunately, but it is all about what's in here, things that I love in fragrances. And it comes in the number 3 spot, or in 3rd place. This is Dre Van Noton. Dre Van Noton. This is sandalwood, nutmeg, tonka bean, and patchouli. Whew. Guys, this is good. This is good. I hate that it's discontinued. I've been hearing rumors that they're going to come back with this fragrance under a different name. I think pretty much Dre Van Noton started his own brand. I think for, you know, kind of copyright type issues, they had to discontinue this particular fragrance, but my God, this is good. Not a brand, obviously, that's known for gourmands. This would be, along with one other fragrance, I think that has some gourmand tendencies to it. But man, this stuff is absolutely fantastic. Honestly, I will say this one thing. When I heard people talk about this fragrance, I heard about these milky kind of lactonic nuances of this fragrance. I don't get as much of that as I would have liked. When I thought or heard about some people describe this fragrance, I thought I would get something more similar to what I get from Sauterrois from Rassasi, which is that almond kind of milky sandalwood, you know, lactonic sandalwood, milky nuances. Don't get as much of that here, but again, what this is more so, imagine bread baking. It comes fresh out of the oven, right? Bread comes fresh out of the oven, it's freshly baked. Somebody takes a little bit of butter and drizzles butter on top of fresh biscuits that have just come out of the oven. You definitely get that kind of buttery nuance with this fragrance that I absolutely love. And then I would say, then take some milk, put some milk in the microwave, warm it up, and throw a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon in there and stir it up. The fusion of those two aromas is what this fragrance is. It smells fantastic. So for you gourmand lovers, this is the one from the brand that I would have recommended. Maybe one other that I'll talk about in a little bit, potentially, but fantastic. Unfortunately, it's discontinued in the third spot, Dre Van Noton. All right, guys, and then the number 2 spot. You probably have noticed what fragrances haven't been talked about yet. And the fragrance that comes in the number 2 spot for me is the other fragrance when I mentioned potentially gourmand. It's not a gourmand, but it's some gourmand tendencies I'll explain momentarily. Done by Maurice Roussel. The number 2 spot for me is muscravageur. Muscravageur, vanilla, musk, cinnamon, cloves, and sandalwood. Now, I do have another version of this fragrance. This is one of the earlier batches of this. If you see the top, it's a matte black cap. The newer caps have, or more, of course, have the emblems and stuff on the top. You know, Frederic Malle insignia there on the top. And this is a shinier, of course, cap versus this more matte black without that. So this is a particular batch was done in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. This particular batch of muscravageur is more, the musk is more animalic and the cloves are more pronounced. So these more recent batches of muscravageur are giving you more of what people would describe as that Cinnabon kind of effect. That Cinnabon kind of effect with this fragrance. Again, the juice color is about the same, but you get more of that vanilla, more of that cinnamon and sandalwood in these batches, newer batches versus the cloves and the animalic musk. But still, fantastic fragrance, and that's why I make the potential gourmand kind of reference, because it does smell like fresh, piping hot Cinnabons coming out of the oven. You get that effect with this fragrance, but it is absolutely fantastic. Bravo to Maurice Roussel for this, I would say, masterpiece of a fragrance. That's why it sits in the number 2 spot. I went back and forth with this in number 1, but this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal, guys. Check it out. This is muscravageur. All right, guys, in the number 1 spot, if you've been rocking with me for a while, this is going to come as no surprise. Done by Dominique Ropillon, Portrait of a Man. Portrait of a Lady by Frederic Malle, number 1, man. Rose, patchouli, incense, and sandalwood is some of the main notes. This is not for everybody. I totally understand if somebody would smell this and smell like, say that this rose in here kind of smells old lady-ish, but I'm not an old lady. You know what I mean? I am a young man, a young man that loves this fragrance. And again, when I rock it and it hits this masculine skin, it takes on a whole nother dimension. This still in my collection of fragrances, and I have quite a bit. still holds the spot in the #1 spot for the most compliments in one single day. It was this particular fragrance, 7 compliments. It works for me. Again, rose, patchouli, incense, sandalwood, some of the main notes of this easy masterpiece in my humble opinion. It comes in the #1 spot in a fragrance brand that has so many superstars. It's really saying something about how much I love this fragrance. So the #1 spot goes to this one. Y'all know what we call it over here is Portrait of a Lady. What we call it, Portrait of a Man. But that is it, guys. That is my time. If you smell some of these fragrances, tell me what your ranking would be, or what are your top 5? One of the two. I want to hear from you down in the comment section. I want to hear what you guys will rank as your top 5. Kind of tell me what you thought about how I ranked my Frederic Malle fragrances. I would love to hear from you down in the comment section. Now, as always, guys, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate your attention to these videos. You don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely, humbly say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel. As always, I sincerely appreciate your time and attention. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, catch you flip side.